All right, we'll jump right in. Super excited for my guest today. Grinded in Indy Ball for a few years before Oakland signed into a minor league deal. Now you're absolutely just crushing it in Vegas. One step away from the minors. Jared Koenig, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Just doing what I can to try and live the dream and have a good time.
Yeah, and I mentioned you're almost in the majors. I mean, you're in minor leagues now. You're the first guy I've had on the podcast who's played in Las Vegas. Obviously, the stadium's beautiful. It's newer stadium, right? It's pretty new, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 2019 was the first season here.
So how is it like? What is the environment playing in Vegas? Like, obviously, we know like the Vegas scene, but like the ballpark side of it, how is that?
The ballpark is amazing. I mean, the ownership group that when they designed it, they thought of everything, and they put their money where their mouth is to try and be a top ballpark in the minor leagues, and I think they are the best. I think it is the best ballpark in all of minor leagues. And I've been to a few that are now affiliates that were in Indy Ball that were really nice, like St. Paul, but this one takes the cake for sure.
Yeah, I saw the pool out there. Like, I can't wait to go see that. Chill in the pool, watch the boys play.
Yeah, it's the pool's nice. Everything else, I mean, the locker room's fantastic. The training room's great. The weight room's probably one of the better minor league weight rooms you're going to find, it's a huge plus. Yeah, everything about it is so well done.
So did Fran Reardon like at the beginning of the season? Did he have to sit down with the team, have a conversation about you guys are in Vegas, but like just make good choices?
Yeah. I mean, I think that goes without saying. I mean, we're all adults, make our own choices. No one's here to babysit us. We're here to be smart for ourselves and do the right thing and as best as you can, and then hopefully nothing negative comes out of it as long as you're doing the right things and making the right choices. But yeah, I mean, nice thing is we're about 15, 20, probably 20 minutes away from the strip. So it kind of takes away a little bit of the enticement to go out and maybe get a little rowdy. We're not driving around 120. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy because you hear stories about like athletes who go to Vegas and like things have happened. I mean, think of the Raiders. I'm a big Raiders fan, so I think of like our receiver who was doing basically that. And that makes sense. Obviously you can have fun, right? But you got to be kind of cognizant of like what you're there for and what the purpose is and all that.
Exactly. And I mean, we're here to have a great time and play baseball and enjoy it. But we're also here to represent the Aviators as well as the Oakland A's.
Awesome. And like you've been crushing it this season. I mean, 3-2 with the 2.36 ERA, 0.93 WHIP. You just had a 10K night. Like, have you ever just had that moment where you sit back and think like, I grinded in the Indy Ball, I grinded in the minors for a little bit, and now I'm just so close to the majors, and you're finally just like performing well, and you're just that much closer to finally reaching that goal of finally being a major leaguer?
Yeah. I mean, I think every day the Indy Ball stuff is a part of me no matter what. I don't think that'll ever leave. I mean, even in college, I wasn't very good per se in all aspects, and I had to go to 3 different schools. So it's like I've seen and done a lot of things, and I've learned a lot about myself and have understood more and more as I've gone on, and just a matter of continuing to pitch and hopefully get that opportunity. I mean, I'm just here to force the hand. I'm not a big money guy. I'm not a guy that's getting pushed along. I'm here to be as good as I can and hopefully get that opportunity.
Yeah, and you mentioned that. I mean, sometimes you can do all that you can do and it's out of your hands, right? It's kind of hard. You just kind of got to have that mindset of like, no matter what you do, it's out of your hands. If they want to promote you, they promote you. There's always that whole politics side of this that you try not to focus too much on. You just got to keep grinding, like you said, force their hand, and you're doing a really good job of doing that. But let's talk about the beginning. So you obviously played in California, grew up in the Bay Area, Santa Cruz area. I myself born in Oakland, raised in Richmond area. So like I know all that area very well.
Yeah.
I was just in California like 3 or 4 weeks ago visiting my family out there.
Nice.
What was the baseball scene like in the Santa Cruz area?
I'd say the baseball was very competitive. We had so many athletes and so many guys that were solid and went on to the next level. And with just like anything, sometimes you lose the love for it, or it is, and maybe they decide to to hang up the spikes after a little bit. And I mean, that's everyone's got their own path and how it works. But I mean, I played with some great guys in general. I mean, I was on the hard key baseball summer team. And so I knew quite a few guys that were always really good. And I think a few of those guys kept going, and I know at least one still in minor league baseball that I had played with, and he had made it to the big leagues with the Reds at the time. Other than that, yeah, I mean, the baseball scene is, I mean, the sports scene in general is great. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of competitiveness, and there's not as many private schools on that side of the hill either. So you kind of have to fight your way, kind of like anything else, and try and be better than all the other teams.
Yeah, I've had guys on from like the Midwest. I've talked to guys from Canada where it snows like half the season, and a lot of them play basketball during the winter, baseball during the summer, or fall, whatever it is. But California, it's beautiful like year round. So there's so much talent there that's just continuing like throughout the season. Were you pretty much only a baseball guy? Did you play other sports?
My first sport was soccer. I played soccer for 12 years roughly. And then with baseball was my second sport, like pretty much back to back for those two. And then I also played basketball in junior high and like AYBA, just like the rec league, as well as I did like some flag football stuff. I never got into the football. I was always kind of geared towards soccer or baseball, and baseball ended up being the path I chose after a while. Basically once I got into high school, I had Osgood Slaughters, and I tried to make the basketball team, and I couldn't even make it through a 2-hour open gym. And I was like, all right, it's time to just stick to baseball since my knee couldn't take it anymore.
Wow, what a rude awakening! It's just to practice 2 hours, and you're like, all right, baseball it is.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't just once I couldn't make it through that. I'm like, this isn't gonna work. I need to be at least healthy for baseball, because my passion was always baseball.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy not too long ago, and he was kind of in the same situation. And I said, "So what ended basketball for you?" He's like, "Well, like the first practice, I got dunked on, and I realized that like this is not for me." So he was like, "All right, I'm gonna stick straight to basketball or baseball. I don't do any other sports here." What year was that? Like, was that like you said it was high school? Was that your freshman year?
Yeah, it was my freshman year, which I believe was 2009.
Okay, very cool.
Maybe fall 08.
Okay. So when you stuck to baseball, like obviously, you probably pitched and played the infield, outfield as a kid. Like, what was your favorite position? Like, other than like, or was it always pitching? You kind of like knew like that's what I was gonna do.
No, I preferred first base. Okay. I love first base. I loved working on my craft over there, and people always take it as an easy position to play, and that always kind of rubs me the wrong way, just because there's so much more that goes into it. But I loved first base. I mean, pitching was always, I mean, being left-handed, I was forced to pitch basically. And I loved pitching, but first base was the other primary position that I enjoyed. And I mean, I played every position on the field. It's just pitcher is where, when I went to college, no one's recruited me as a first baseman. No one saw me, because in summer ball, I was just a pitcher. So that I just stuck to pitching and kind of went from there.
Yeah. Obviously, so you continue as a pitcher. Like how good were you in like high school? Like, were you just dominating in California in the Santa Cruz Bay Area?
So my freshman year, because of Osgood Slaughters, I only played a fair amount. I think I pitched roughly 20 something innings. I wasn't throwing too much on the JV team. I was throwing a fair amount. I didn't play as much, but I was kind of just, again, trying to get the knee to where I wasn't in pain, and doing everything to get that. Sophomore year, back to JV, I threw well, and not a problem at all. A couple varsity outings, just as it was. We had a bunch of good varsity guys, and that's just how it works. You kind of work your way up. Junior year, I was really good. I ended up winning the SCCAL, I think is what it is. The pitcher of the year that year, my junior year.
Sure.
My stats that year were fantastic. And then my senior year, I was pretty good, but I was not nearly as good as I was my junior year.
So how was your recruiting process then? I mean, obviously you're pitching well. You get drafted by the White Sox after your senior year, but you decided to go to college.
No, I got drafted after my sophomore year of junior college.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
I was reading that, and for some reason I'm like, okay, either because you went to 3 different colleges, so I was thinking it was after high school. Okay, so that was after Arizona. Central Arizona?
So my recruiting wise, I wasn't a heavy recruit. Like, I mean, I threw probably anywhere 84 to maybe touching 90 occasionally. But I was never a flamethrower, and I think that kind of deterred people a little bit, being to where that flamethrower era was starting to pop up again, and everyone wanted velo. That being said, I threw really well in summer ball. My coach, Terry Hardkey, they were fighting for me to get spots. I ended up getting a couple scholarship offers. One was San Diego State for like half scholarship. One was St. Mary's for like 40%. I had an offer to Maryland, but it was as I was driving down to Central, and so it was hard to take that, and as well as like University of Portland. So like those were the D1 offers, and then I had a scholarship to go to Central Arizona, which was almost near like a full ride, being that it's junior college, and so I opted for that. Plus, being a freshman, I knew I would pitch a little more, and that I think in the end that was the best decision.
Yeah, and so you went to JUCO, and we always hear the stories, and I've heard crazy stories about the JUCO life and how obviously there's like different rules from like practice wise from JUCOs as well as like D1s and all that. Any funny like JUCO stories where you're like, man, that's only happens in a junior college?
I'd say there's a fair amount of that. For I'm trying to think of random things that would happen or that did happen. I don't know. It's been so long. There's not really much that I can really pull back on in regards to crazy JUCO stories, other than just, I mean, the 6 a.m. running, and we're running up a mountain, and because it was easier to run up that, because it took longer to get over there than it was to run on the track for an hour.
So 6 a.m. you're running up mountains in Central Arizona.
Yeah, there's one peak that was on campus, and we would always choose that because it took longer to get over there. So it in the end, we were running less because of that, and we suffered more for sure. But it was, I'd say that was maybe some dumb decisions, but also maybe it was the right decision. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? You never know. So you get drafted after Central Arizona. Was there ever any thought of like actually going to pro ball right then, or like what kept you kind of from going to? I think it was the White Sox who drafted you.
Yeah, I got drafted by the White Sox. I'm pretty sure 35th round. I wanted to sign. I was requesting a fair amount of money in my position because I had leverage. I had school covered already. I was committed to go to Old Dominion, and so they were trying to get that kind of money I was looking for in the range of what I was. I mean, I would have signed for anywhere close to 100. I mean, the goal is when you're a draft, you want to have as much money involved in your name to where at least there's something invested in you. And so I knew that, and I was trying to get as much as I could, and I believe I did the right way. But they signed Carlos Rodon for $1 million over slot value, and with that, I got a call, or I reached out to the scout, and he said, "Yeah, hey, we're not signing any more guys." So I didn't even get a contract offer.
Oh,
yeah.
So Carlos Rodon, because of that, they signed him more than his slot. That way, they didn't have anything for you.
They didn't have any extra money to spend. Yeah.
That is crazy how that all works out sometimes. Like, because in MLB draft is so different than every other draft. Just like
very much so.
It's crazy how like it's kind of hard to get into, and like we don't have time to talk about that. But you obviously understand like the whole dynamics of it is crazy. Especially like the last year or 2 years ago with COVID, like there was only 5 rounds. I talked to a couple guys who drafted that year. Like it was the most randomest like draft ever.
Yeah, it's very strange how they did the 5-round draft, and hopefully, I mean, I think 20 is fine. I think 30 would be a little better. Granted, it's better for guys in the organizations that are already, because they don't have to worry about as many cuts when it comes to that.
That is true. Good point there. So after Old Dominion, you played several years in Indy Ball. At one point, you played in Santa Rafael, which I had no idea had a team. Like I grew up in like 20 minutes from San Rafael, and I had no idea they even had a baseball team. Like, what was that vibe like?
Well, so after Old Dominion, I actually went to Cal State Monterey Bay for my senior year.
Oh wow, okay.
That was my senior year, because junior year was Old Dominion, and I didn't pitch well and as well as I would have liked there, and so then I got my scholarship pulled, and I went to Cal State Monterey Bay for my senior year. And then after 16, I thought I'd get drafted. I didn't get drafted. I pitched well enough, but nothing spectacular to get my name out or to get picked up. And so then I pitched some summer ball, like a college summer ball again, to kind of give myself another opportunity, maybe to get a undrafted signing. And I got a workout with the Dodgers. Ended up not getting signed. So then the following summer, I went to Indy Ball, my first year, and I was on 4 different teams.
You're on 4 different teams within that same league, or like 4 different leagues?
In 4 different leagues in 2017. I started in the United Shores Professional League, which is in Utica, Michigan, and I got signed there via one of my teammates from high school. He was on the team, and he got me a spring training invite basically to that team. And I was there for 1 month. I was put in the bullpen as a lefty specialist. I mean, we only played like 3 games a week, so 2 games a week, so they only needed like 2 starters in reality. And I didn't get the lefties out how they wanted, I guess. And so then I got released after an outing. And then I came home, and I signed with the Monterey Amberjacks in the Pecos League. I was with them for 4 weeks. I got moved up to their travel team in the American Association, which they were filling for the travel team was filling in for the Laredo team that had folded that year prior. And so I was on that team for 5 weeks. And then I pitched well for a couple starts. Next 3 starts were not so hot. Got released after a 15-hour bus ride at 3 a.m.
So you went on the 15-hour bus ride. You get off, and they're like, "By the way, we release you."
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
At the hotel. Yeah. So then I got a flight 7 hours later, and flew out to San Francisco. Got picked up with my dad, and then I got a call from San Rafael, the Pacifics and the Pacific Association, and they signed me for the last 2.5 weeks of the season, and I made a couple starts there.
How is the playing in San Rafael? Because like I said, I had no idea they had a team there. I lived in Richmond, so like literally, like I was 4 or 5 minutes from the bridge to get there.
Yeah, I think that team's been there. I can't remember how long it's been there.
Did they get pretty good crowds in San Rafael?
They had a very good supporting cast from people from San Rafael and like the Novato area and everything. I know. I mean, we had a really good host family community there. I think every player had a host family, which was huge. The fans were great. The travel wasn't terrible because we drive an hour at max, or hour and a half at max, like Sonoma or Vallejo or Pittsburgh and Martinez.
I had no idea Vallejo had a team either. Like, these are all cities that obviously I grew up going to. Like, it's incredible. Like, I had no idea this league even existed.
Yeah, it was not a well-known league. I'd say the last 3 years of when that was a league was when it was really solid, which was, let's see, I was there I'd say 17, 18, and 19. It was pretty solid. And then I know maybe it was after 18, they sold the team.
Okay.
To Dunn, Andrew Dunn he's the one that runs the Pecos League.
Okay.
Now it's a Pecos League team.
Oh, okay.
And so the Pacific Association, I'm pretty sure, is disbanded now.
Okay. So then you obviously play a couple years in Indy Ball. You eventually get signed by Oakland, but like honestly, like was there any point where you're thinking to yourself like maybe like how do you keep yourself motivated? I guess like on that side, like the mental side, where you're like, okay, I'm doing everything I can do. Like maybe like affiliated ball, it just won't be my thing.
yeah, so like 2017, my first year, I was not like I was good, and then I was okay, and then I was like average, I'd say. By the end, I was learning a lot about myself and my mentality and kind of things. And uh, at the end of that year, I kind of was like, all right, well, if I'm going to play another year, let's see what happens. And I'm just going to go out, and I changed my whole mentality to basically just saying, fuck it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go out, enjoy my time here, because I don't know if it'll be my last time. And I thought about it. I started doing stuff like for Police Academy, and I took all the tests, passed all the tests, all that stuff. And
in San Rafael or where?
I was looking in various areas.
Okay.
It wasn't nothing specifically located in the area. I was just deciding I might as well start looking at an option to see where I can be and if there's something else I need. And, or like kind of if I decide to hang it up whenever it is. And I had a really good year in 18. And so I think that kind of kept me going. And so then I realized I was starting to find myself a little more. And in between 18 and 19, my coach, he hooked me up with my trainer, Matt Rosignol, in Rozzie's training in Scotts Valley, which was 20 minutes from my home. So with that, I kind of had a newfound way to improve myself, because I was never a big gym guy. I mean, I in between 17 and 18, I stepped up my game a little bit, but I didn't have any specific training. And so from there on, he kind of added a little extra to my body in general, just with teaching myself my brain and mentality and everything that comes with going to the gym 24/7 and eating and doing the right things I need to do. And so that kind of helped push me along to where I'm at now.
Yeah. So how did the whole obviously you got signed with Oakland. How did that come about? Were there any other teams interested in you, or do they just kind of reach out to you like, hey, like we were interested, we got a spot for you?
So after my 19 season, I had a really good year. I got or prior to the end of the season, I got signed. I was looking to go to like Australia or New Zealand. Well, mainly Australia was what I was originally looking at. And one of my teammates was talking to my Australia, or the Auckland Tuatara, the New Zealand team in the ABL, but he also had offers from the Melbourne Aces, if I'm correct.
I think so.
In Australia. And he decided to go to Melbourne, and I got the offer, or I got the number from him and told him to tell the pitching coach to call me for New Zealand for the Tuatara. And he had called me, DJ Carrasco, he was a pitching coach, and he called me, and that's how I got signed to the Auckland Tuatara. And he was affiliated at the time with the Dodgers, just like as a outside scout. I don't think he was actually with them. And then my manager, Steve Mintz, he's with the Rangers, and Darren Bragg, who at the time was with the Reds. So I had all those guys that I think would have been able to get me signed into any of those organizations. Mm-hmm. But the A's called week 2, or the Australian scout, Dan Matrine. He called after week 2 saying, hey, I really like you. I'm putting your name in. I'm hoping we can get you signed. And then he called back 2-3 days later saying, hey, sorry, they don't have room for you. So we can't really sign you. Sorry. Like, that's fine. No worries. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And then I pitched again that Friday for the 3rd week. And then they called back the next day and said, hey, we're going to sign you. And so they made room for me. And then from there, it took the process, because they had to buy my contract from the Crushers, the Lake Erie Crushers, from 19. And after that, I think by the 6th week is when I got sent home, and I was an Oakland A at the time.
It's awesome. Like, yeah. And I love hearing stories like that, because I've talked to guys who drafted as high as 2nd round or 3rd round, 5th round, and then I've also talked to several guys who've been Indy Ball, signed, and now they're in affiliated baseball. Great. Obviously, these stories are incredible. Like the the determination, I guess, that you've had to be able to go through, 3 colleges, through a couple different teams,
Yeah.
possibly Australia, and then now you're in the minor leagues and you're in AAA. So I love to talk to guys who are in the minors, especially the stories that they go through, because obviously fans, I always say this, fans see the major leagues, they see that final product, but they don't see like everything it takes to get to the majors, right? The grind, the travel, the crappy hotels, the long bus rides. Do you have any like funny minor league stories that you've experienced, whether it's in AA or AAA? Obviously, AAA is a little bit nicer. You got to admit, you got lucky, you got to skip low A and high A, and but obviously, you still have these experiences in the minors. Do you have any interesting like minor league stories where that can only happen in the minors?
I mean, in reality, I didn't skip low A or high A because
that is true.
I was doing the Indy Ball route, which is
true. I shouldn't have said that. You're right. You're right.
It's all relative. And in 19, we had the long bus ride. Same with last year in Midland. We still had the long bus rides. I'd say some of the funniest things are just the bus rides. There's so much entertainment that can be had that always can't be repeated because it's a team thing. And I think the camaraderie is what is more enjoyable with all of that. You get guys playing cards, you get guys doing everything just to have a good time and make it, because everyone's in the same boat. We're all on that bus ride. Otherwise, let's see if I can pull out some stories that I can think of right now.
Like last time I had a guy said that they were on like a 14-15 hour bus ride. The bus breaks down, they go like a mile, the bus breaks down again, and the bus just can't be fixed. So like their coach's bus also broke down that same exact day. So they all had to fit in one bus, and they're riding the whole way. Like the manager standing up 5-6 hours straight because they don't even have places to sit down.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. 19. One of our pitchers, he was our best pitcher at the time, and I mean for consistently most of the year too. He and I were the 2 best pitchers on that team and in the league, and he couldn't get a win, so he decided he took the royal shower with every full on uniform. He's like, I need to do something to change it up and to try and get some wins, because he was throwing his ass off and not getting anything out of it. That was always entertaining to see and watch and be a part of. For the most part, yeah, I'd say it worked. He got some wins down later on a little more, and
worth it.
Exactly. In 19, one of the stadiums, the visitors locker room. The visitor locker rooms are never anything.
Oh no,
anything spectacular. But we had, I think this was River City. It was the year they won it. I think it was 19. Yeah. After that, they team decided. I think they sold the team and maybe left the league or just completely ended it. But the visitor locker, we had one prison shower with like 4 nozzles in the locker room, and that was our shower, and it would flood and everything, and we you get one prison shower and everyone's got to get in before we got to go, so it takes a long time and adds to the likeness of Indy Ball.
What is like the most random city you've been to where you get off the bus, you're looking around and like, where am I? There's like a Subway and like a Dollar General.
Let's see, random.
Because even in the minors, maybe or actually you played in Midland. Like, what is Midland like? I visited there. Like my in-laws used to live out there, and it's hot. Like it's the middle of nowhere. Like what was it like playing out there?
For me, I like that kind of, not necessarily the heat as much as anything, but I like that it was more desert like versus humid wise, because
absolutely,
the rest of Texas is humid as can be. And I didn't mind Midland by any means. Sure, there's not a lot to do, but granted, we were playing with COVID protocols last year anyway, so we couldn't really do much in the first place. I enjoyed it. The people are great. yeah, the people are awesome. We had some solid fans. We didn't necessarily get the best crowds, but we had those loyal fans that were there, and they would talk to you, and you get to know them, which was awesome. Now that is Midland. Yeah, you're in the middle of nowhere. There, you got Midland and Odessa, and everything else is part-time people that come in for working on the oil rigs.
Yeah,
and that's it's Midland. I mean, there's it's nothing fancy by any means, and you kind of just roll with it. Other places I'd say would be Washington, Pennsylvania. There's not much there.
Okay. Was that with Indy Ball or
that was Indy Ball Frontier League. That was where we went. Yeah, that I'd say Washington was the most kind of out there spot that we kind of went, but was still, I mean, you're still in a town. Yeah. And they get good crowds, so like nothing. It's just we got put up in I think it was a motel. Or no, it was a Red Roof Inn, so it's nothing fancy, and you just get your sleep and call it good.
Yeah, and you're lucky because like I've heard guys who talk in Indy Ball too, like where they don't even have the reservation. They go there like, oh yeah, we didn't reserve your spot, so here's one room for like, or two rooms for everybody. He ends up going to sleep at a Cracker Barrel.
Oh jeez.
He's like, hey, can I put my head down and take a nap? And he said, yeah, he woke up at lunchtime.
I can't tell you the amount of times we had to wait probably an hour or two or three after a long bus ride to get our rooms because they weren't ready, and they forgot about it or something. And that's always one of the worst things when it comes to travel is because it's none of us, we're relying on someone else and another company to maintain that.
Exactly. And you mentioned like interaction with fans. Have you had any interesting, like I love this question, like have you ever had any interesting fan interactions? Because I talked to guys who've had fans ask them to sign their foreheads, and they had one guy said that a fan on his birthday, they built him like a tin can replica of him with the hat from like the ice cream scoops, and they give it to him for his birthday. Like the most random thing. So like minor league stadiums, like you mentioned, like a lot of them are just like these small towns. The fans are pretty much right on you. Like you can hear everything, and especially when there's not very many in the stands.
Yeah. I think the most common one is always having like kids. They want me to sign their shoes, or they don't have anything else, so they take off their shoe and they hand me, and they want me to sign their shoe. I'm like, are you guys sure? Like this is gonna be on there. It's Sharpie. Okay. Yeah. Or then they'll have like some kids. Like I'll have some kids ask me like sign their foreheads. I'm like, I'm not signing your forehead. Maybe your arm's fine, okay, but I'm not gonna be the one to sign the forehead. Yeah. Like that's not needed. Yeah. Let's see. There's so much. My brain's been through so much with all this. I'm trying to. I always had one dude he was a great guy, big barbecuer in San Rafael, and he would always just tell me how much he loved my walkout song, like every day. It's Loud and Heavy by Cody Jenks.
Okay.
And so that's still my walkout. It's been that way for 5 years now. But he would always tell me it's the best walkout in the league, and he's a big country dude, and so like that kind of resonated. And he's a great dude, and I talk to him here and there, which is always nice. And then I'd say in Midland, there's a couple of the fans that I got because they were friends with our host family there that I still get to talk to and constantly. And I'd say it's more just the not crazy things, just they're the good people that
more pleasant interactions
that show themselves. Yeah. And I know last year they'd go crazy for a couple of our jerseys, and I think one of mine sold for like $600. I'm like, that's insane.
Wait, where?
In Midland.
Like who was selling it?
The team.
Oh, it was like an auction.
Yeah, like one of the special jerseys. I think it was a military one.
Okay.
Military night, and so that we get the crazy. I mean, when I see some jerseys going for that expensive, I'm like, why? It's just my name. It's my name. Like,
what about the card guys? The guys with the book of cards, and they're like, yeah, no, this is for me or for my kid, but they got like 30.
Yes, those are always entertaining. I've I think I've had one person send me a card from Midland, because that's the only card I really have is the Midland ones. And so I signed that this year from whoever had sent it. And then it's funny is one of my teammates, Parker, he and I look very similar. We're both pale and tall. And no, Markel.
Okay.
We're both pale and white and tall. And the amount of times I've been asked, Parker, I go, no, sorry. Nope. And he's been in the big leagues, so they want his autograph because there's some value to that. And I'm just like, nope. I told him one day I'm just going to say, yeah, sure. And I'll sign it left-handed and just make it completely wrong.
Sure.
Just to
see what that goes for, if he can match your $600.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So let's before we get off here, let's talk about Oakland or Las Vegas. Obviously, they have a good team there. The boys are buzzing. A lot of good talent in the A system. Obviously, they've had a couple of major trades recently. Yeah. Like looking at like Las Vegas, like who was like the glue guy in the locker room there, the guy who kind of keeps everything loose for the boys?
Let's see, guys that keep it loose.
Who's like the DJ? Who controls the music?
It's Austin Allen now. It was Buddy Reed. He recently got released, which it sucks, but I mean, again, it's baseball. We can't control that. And so now it seems like it's Austin Allen who's the big DJ guy. And then I would say Brian Howard. He's one of the funnier dudes on the team, and one of the quick-witted guys he can be very entertaining, and he's a great dude. So it's fun.
Nice. And like I said, you're so close to the majors. I'm hoping you make your major league debut this season, especially after everything you've gone through, like the grind and all that. I'm obviously a big A's fan. Like I grew up, my dad was season ticket holders. Like our family was season ticket holders. So I'm in Wisconsin now, so I cheer for the Brewers or my NL team. But like Oakland's always going to be my number one team. Obviously I'm not going to drive to California or fly to California, but dude, if you're out here, I'm looking at you obviously guys come to Chicago, you come to play the White Sox.
Yeah,
the Twins. I've driven to both of those stadiums several times to watch the guys play. I'm excited for you. I'm circling these dates on my calendar. So like when you're making your major league debut, I got to know. And I'm hoping it's sometime, when you're playing one of those two teams, so that I can drive there, see you play in person, kind of meet you in person, actually get a face-to-face conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm the person that would love for that to happen now. Just like anything, it is what it is. I can't control it. So I'm going to do everything in my power from my side of things to make it happen. And then if it happens, great. If it doesn't, then hopefully next year. I mean, I can't get too far ahead.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, not personally, but I understand what you're saying. And like we're hoping you get to that level. Like I said, I'm hoping it's you make your debut. I'm hoping I can see you pitch here live in the Midwest whenever you guys make your way down here. Before we hop off, like tell us more about you. Like I was looking at your Instagram or something. You're a hunter.
Yeah.
Obviously, like you're gonna have to show me how to hunt one day. Like I'm in the Midwest now. People people assume I'm from California. You probably get this question all the time. Like, do you surf? Like, are you a surfer?
No, I've never surfed a day in my life.
I'm not either. I get that question all the time since I'm from there and I live in the Midwest now.
Yeah, water's too cold for me. I don't do cold water very well. Maybe lakes sometimes if I gotta jump in immediately.
Yeah.
I'm not a surfer. I've actually been. I'd say I was a shooter before I was a hunter. I just grew up around guns and I've always loved being outdoors, being in the mountains. That's my like decompression area. So if I can be in the mountains, then I'm a little more free and kind of stress free. I got into hunting at a young age because of my dad and one of his friends who was basically an uncle to me.
Yeah.
And so I had a property to go up to outside of Red Bluff and still do, thankfully. So that's been I'm a big hunter, I'm a big outdoorsy person. I like taking photos. I've expanded into cameras and filming and trying to broaden my creative side a little bit since I've always been a little messed up on the opposite side of the head, I guess. So
no, I mean, like I said, people ask me all the time, do I hunt and am I a surfer because I'm in the from California. But now like all my family in California and all my friends in California, they were
Are you hunting?
I'm a hunter, like big country guy, because they think of like the Little House on the Prairie when I think
Yeah.
of them. I live in Wisconsin.
I know.
So I'm gonna have you, like, show me a couple things next time. Once the off season is, show me my way around a couple hunting guns so that we can go hunting sometime, and you can show me the ropes.
I'll definitely have to help with that. Yeah, I actually did my first whitetail hunt last year. I was just filming for my buddies, my buddy Brett Graves, and Full Count Full Draw. That was on
YouTube.
Yeah, he's on YouTube and all that. Yeah. And so he brought me out to help film for his stuff, and so I got to sit in a tree stand, which I had never done because Western hunting is completely different than whitetail hunting. So that was a great learning experience, and baseball's brought me some great dudes. He was one that I was with last year, and I got to learn a lot from him, and continue to learn with him with even hunting and all that stuff that I'm always getting put in, and I'm just it's something where I think you can where you can constantly learn something. So I think that's what intrigues me, is there's always something you can do to learn and be better at it.
Are you pretty much only bow or gun, like rifle hunting, or do you do bow hunting as well?
So I've been a rifle hunter entirely. My buddies are many people actually in general are trying to get me to be a bow hunter, and I don't want to. I like the rifles more. I think it's just how I've grown up and what I've enjoyed more.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Yeah, to me, I think it's. And as long as you make the right shot, I think it's a little more of a clean kill versus with the bow. But don't get me wrong, like nothing is perfect with any situation. So it is what it is, and it's just. Will I get in archery? Yeah, I'm sure I will. But at this moment in time, I'm still going to stick with the rifles.
I actually went to a group on me and my wife when we were first got married, like our first year. This is right after like the Hunger Games came out, right? So like we're like, I'm gonna go look on Groupon to find out bow shooting. So we go to Groupon. Yeah. And somewhere in the Bay Area, I can't think of where it's at. It might have been San Francisco or something. Like we went to this like indoor archery range and they gave us lessons and stuff. I was so bad. Like I would never be able to hit anything, especially if it's running, flying, moving. Like I would be the first one. Like if we were in the jungle, like I'd be like, I'll be the one who's done first. Like they're like, yeah, he's not gonna last.
That's funny. Yeah. When I was a little one, I had done a little bit of archery when I was visiting my grandparents, I think I believe this was in New York. I got to do some stuff, and I was pretty good at it. I'm sure I would be decent with it, but like anything, it's practice and then time and money, just like anything else in the world.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's someday we'll be out there hunting, you and I, just chilling in the deer stands. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that would be awesome.
But Jared, hey, I want to thank you for coming on. I know you guys are about to go travel to Reno, face the Reno Ace. No, what are they? Reno?
Yeah, Reno Aces.
Reno Aces. So good luck with that. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. We'll have to keep in touch. Hopefully, once you make it to the show, we'll get you back on even before then, and we'll see what happens. But I do wish you all the best, man.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. It's always nice to share my story.